Good morning, Saganauts. It's wonderful to see all of you. One more hand for Bryson. Where are you at, Bryson? Over there. Okay. One more hand for fabulous Bryson. He'll be your guide throughout the day. Isn't he fabulous? I first met Bryson earlier this year at 3XP. So 3XP is one of the newer conferences. It's focused specifically on Web3 gaming. It takes place in Pasadena, California. And I was immediately struck by Bryson's gaming knowledge, by his eloquence, and really by his sincere love for gamers and creators and their potential to, as he likes to put it, become the impossible. And it is in the name of the creators, the storytellers, the developers, and the crazies who dare to dream their craziest dreams that Saga gets to work. Now you may be thinking, you come from Web3. Before your whole rebrand, you all were known as crypto. So why should I trust you? And my response to that is I am here to put in as plain a way as I can what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. So we're in Web3 because we build, we own, and we choose. We build, we own, we choose. Web3 is about self-determination. Now, these values are not new to gamers. It's probably why there's such a synergy between gaming and Web3. So the current cutting edge of games, the current generation of cutting edge games, really relies on its creators and its users for survival and growth. It relies on content from the community. And in order for developers and creators to be able to create, they need freedom to scale. And ultimate freedom for a developer is a space of their own. Okay, and that space needs to have certain characteristics. It needs to be permissionless. You don't need to ask anyone to use it. High performance, obviously. Automated. It needs to be gasless. So you decide your own monetization. Automatically interoperable. And of course, decentralized. That is the whole point of Web3. So having your space basically means having your own chain. The only way to have a piece of technology that matches all of that criteria is to have your own chain. And therefore, Saga is a chain to launch chains. We're a layer one to launch other layer ones. All right, so let's go through the product. So there's a Saga mainnet. Again, we are a layer one ourselves. And what happens when a developer comes to Saga mainnet is they will request what we call a chainlet. So every chain that gets stood up on Saga is called a chainlet. And upon that request, our network is obligated to spin up that chainlet for you. And once that chainlet is deployed, then you can start deploying your smart contracts or your application onto that chainlet. The whole process takes about 2 minutes at this point. We hope to get it even faster, but it is a very, very easy process. Now, what we encourage people to do is don't think of a chain as one application, one chain. Anytime you have greater performance requirements, or maybe you want to shard your game, you want to have additional instances of it, stand up additional chains. Okay, so with that, the whole system can elastically scale. Not only are you able to automatically provision one instance of your game, but you can elastically scale to as many chains as you want as your performance needs grow. Okay? And that is possible because all the chains speak to one another. All right? We are interoperability first. It means that all the assets obviously can get passed back and forth, but more importantly, for performance purposes, you can scale as much as you like. All right, so who uses this? It's developers, obviously, but also other layer ones. We make sure that we are a good partner to others in the ecosystem. We also cater to, obviously, brand new projects, but also established projects. And I'm going to tell you how those two models look. So let's look at the more straightforward thing first, which is a developer that deploys directly onto a Saga chainlet. So a developer is going to figure out their monetization model for their end users. So we think that sending a bill for infrastructure to your end users is the shittiest user experience ever. It is one of the stranger parts of Web3, and it's something that we decided to do away with. Particularly for gaming, it is intolerable for gamers to face high and variable gas fees. Therefore, we are by default gasless. And we leave it up to the developers entirely to decide how they want to monetize from their end users. All right? So how does the system actually work? Now, somebody has got to pay the network for keeping the chains alive. So the developers are the ones who pay the validators who run the network. And the validators, in turn, receive those fees. And because it's a layer 1 protocol with a bunch of validators, they also get inflation rewards, staking rewards, commissions, et cetera. So that's how the system works. All right? So what if you are a layer 1 or a platform of your own, and you have your own token to take care of? You've got your own developer economy already. Then what we want to do is we want to respect the fact that you have worked hard to build your ecosystem. You've worked hard to build the brand relationship between your chain and your developers. And so we don't want to be visible to them, unless you want us to be. We work directly with you as the partner network. And so the developer is continuing to deploy onto your network, thinking that it's your block space that they're using. But actually, you are going to deploy on Saga. So you are asking Saga for additional block space through our chainlets, and your developers are going to be none the wiser that their applications, their smart contracts are actually coming onto the Saga network, all right? So in that way, we horizontally scale your block space as a layer 1, and you get to continue to accrue value on your token in exactly the same way as you would if you were using your own chain. All right? So once again, we wanted a system that was permissionless, high performance, automated, gasless, automatically interoperable, and decentralized. All right? So the testnet that we have running right now is called Cassiopeia, Cassio for short. And all of our testnets are named after constellations. So let's check in on how it's performing. It is a highly performant system, 1.1 million TPS, capacity of 1,000 chains. We currently have 500 chains running, all with their own RPC endpoints and block explorers. So they are their own chain, and they're all stood up in less than an hour. This is a highly, highly performant system. It can scale beyond 1,000 chains. It starts to get a little bit expensive, which is why we capped it for now. But in production, this is a highly, highly performant chain. So that's our current testnet, but we're here to start introducing you to the next iteration of the Saga protocol. And what are some additional features in this next iteration? So first off, we have implemented IBC interconnected chains. Now, what does that mean? It means that the interoperability that I was referring to earlier is now a reality. So all the chains speak to one another. And again, you can pass assets back and forth, but you can also elastically scale. You have shared security. Shared security is what makes this entire system work. So the chains are sharing security with the Saga mainnet, and that's how you ensure the entire security of the system. All right, validator orchestration. Validator orchestration is basically the equivalent of scaling in Web3. So you imagine if it's a permissionless system where as soon as a developer requests a chainlet, they get a chainlet, the validators have huge burden on them in order to orchestrate these chains. Now we need to do that for them as the layer 1. So a lot of the magic that happens at Saga is really on the validator orchestration level. It's a proof of authority validator set to start with. And of course, incentivized testnets. So I am so proud to announce today the next iteration of the Saga protocol, which is called Pegasus. So Pegasus is the very last stop before we get to mainnet launch, which is going to be later this year. Pegasus looks very, very similar to what our mainnet is going to be. Over the next few months, what we're going to be doing is welcoming more validators onto the system to make it more decentralized. And ultimately, we want to ensure the security of the system. But Pegasus is pretty much our last stop until mainnet. So super excited about that. Our engineers are working away to complete it, and the release date is going to be soon. But for now, the Cassio testnet is available. So if you scan that QR code there, that'll lead you directly to our documentation, and you can start to stand up chains at will. Okay? So super excited to announce that, something to look forward to for an entire community. Let's talk about some of the use cases for this system. So one of the things that's a little weird about Web3 is that we build a lot of technology without really concerning ourselves about whether people use it. So here at Saga, obviously a very different attitude. And we want to make sure that if we are building technology that is optimized for gaming and entertainment, that gaming and entertainment actually finds it useful. So what are some of the use cases that our developers have been asking for? So first is something we call a unified hierarchical economy. Now, what does that mean? What it means is that within your game, you probably have a segment of assets that are segregated from each other. So you have high-value assets, probably mid-value assets, and then some, low-value assets, kind of throwaway assets that are just kind of fun. Here, you can have those on separate chains, but they all feel like the same game, all the same gaming experience. Okay. You also have recycled gas tokens. Now, one of the tricky things about being a gasless system is that you don't have that natural barrier from spam. So people can spam your game because they don't need a token to be able to enter it. But the answer is not to institute a token because that ruins the user experience. The answer is to recycle gas tokens. So these are basically identity management devices that you can use as a game in order to make sure that the people coming onto the game aren't just spamming it and they have no economic value. The whole point of it is to be able to ensure the security of your game. And then finally, horizontally sharding games and apps. This is something that's quite familiar to those of you in gaming. It's not a new concept from Web3. If you have different realms, different worlds, different instances and shards of your game, now you can do it on separate chains. And again, because all the chains speak to one another, it feels like a unified game experience. So our innovators, whom you're about to get to know in a bit, they are working with us on each of these use cases. And if any of you are interested in participating in any of these projects, definitely feel free to let us know. Many members of the Saga team here today, and we'd be thrilled to work with you. All right, so when are we getting all these goodies? Where are we right now on the roadmap? So we started off with our AlphaNet late last year. And then we debuted Casio at GDC this year. And now we are at Pegasus. And mainnet launch, I mentioned, was going to be late this year. Okay, so that's what the roadmap looks like. Many of the features that we are talking about, we are going to have at mainnet, and then a few are going to be post mainnet. So we are going to have, obviously, multiple iterations of mainnet to look forward to. But the first time that our games, our NFT projects, our DeFi projects, our social projects are all going to go live at the end of the year. All right. So that's us. That's the Saga protocol. But you can probably tell from this event, our speaker lineup and the community that you've gotten to know so far, that we really prize our partners. So our flagship partners like Avalanche, Polygon, Celestia, Clayton Forte come to us. These are projects that use the Saga stack and then extend it. So Saga automates the instantiation of app chains. We do that for ourselves, obviously, for our protocol, but we can really do that for any protocol out there, including Polygon with their supernets, Avalanche with their subnets, Celestia with their rollups, so on and so forth. Now, each one of these tech stacks is foreign to Saga. So it was already a challenge for our technical team to figure out how to automate those. But in addition to that, we wanted to give flexibility for each of these instances as well. So when you stand up app chains, using any of those stacks, you can select what SLAs you want. You can select what VMs you want. You can also select your validator sets as well. So sometimes people want to customize each of these variables, and that's completely possible on Saga. This is a concept that we call realms. So in the same way that games have realms, at Saga, we also have realms, but they refer to different tech stacks. All right. So cool product, very cool product, actually. But what can you do with it? Well, at Saga, we take the attitude that our eyes have not yet seen, nor our ears heard, nor our minds imagined what we can build. Now, this kind of ambition is not new to gaming. I would say that gaming is having a moment right now. The rest of the entertainment world is looking to gaming as the future. It is the big moneymaker. It has a business model that is not entirely broken, and so it's looking to invest more money into this. But that's just from the studio perspective, and we think that studio investment is great, but it's just the beginning. The future of gaming and entertainment is really in the decentralized generation of content, and that's why Saga Multiverse is really a full stack production studio. And this is a place where storytellers, creators, developers combine sight, sound, motion in order to break the silos that have held them back from telling their stories and realizing their dreams. At Saga, we are rallying both traditional and Web3 gaming behind the Multiverse, which is an ecosystem where the storytellers, the creators, and the developers freely collaborate and extend each other's universes. Okay, so we're spearheading what we believe to be the main contribution of Web3 to the greater cultural zeitgeist, which is the celebration of freedom and the exploration of creative expression together. We think this is the moment, and we have found our anthem. So let me start introducing you to some of the brave and visionary projects that are already building on Saga. Here you have a heat map of our innovator program, which is our ecosystem program. There are 224 logos in there right now. 80% of these are gaming projects. The rest are in NFTs and entertainment, some DeFi and social in there as well. All right, and today, I would love to share with you our newest initiative, which is the Generative Multiverse. You've all heard about generative AI. Generative AI for us is a really vital tool to realize the multiverse. Obviously, with a new cutting-edge project and innovators who are doing very new things, generative AI is not only not a scary concept, it's actually quite welcome. And it's a very powerful tool to really unleash creativity. These are the lighthouse innovators that are currently providing generative AI tools, as well as generative AI IP to our games, our film projects. Some people are doing TV shows and art projects as well, but they are a really vital part of the creativity at Saga. And in our opinion, the multiverse really becomes real because of Web3. It is creators who freely build and contribute to each other's universes. It's people who don't necessarily think of themselves as storytellers, nevertheless creating content that resonates with whole communities. It's self-determination and the ownership of your own intellectual property and the freedom to contribute to others. It's content that doesn't have a big studio's resources, but nevertheless captures a storyteller's passion. This is the world we are building, and would you like to see what it looks like?
The multiverse represents a boundless realm of possibilities where creators and innovators can shape entire worlds. Take projects to new heights in a way that other platforms can't match.
It's a bright new future of interoperability where new technologies are all going to be able to come together and see what we can create. Saga is working to make this way more accessible for everyone.
The multiverse is a concept where different games and virtual worlds are interconnected. As a developer, you can build your own game using the Saga chainlet. We love the speed and efficiency with Saga.
With Saga, I'm in the driver's seat. This is always something that I dreamed was possible, but it's really exciting to see it come to fruition.
This could be a revolution in terms of the technology we could use. It's fantastic to have not just the right tech, but the right people. It's not just the objective, but the journey.
Amazing. All right, so I'm going to end this morning where it all began, which is that Saga is a space where the crazies come to dream their craziest dreams and feel loved and supported. The heart and soul of Saga remains our innovator program. There are 224 innovators currently. We are looking at gaming projects, NFTs and entertainment, DeFi and social, and of course, our fellow infrastructure projects. By the time we reach mainnet later this year, we are looking at over 300 projects building on Saga. For a layer 1 protocol in Web3, that is a staggering number, but we love each and every one of our projects. Our eyes have not yet seen, nor our ears heard, nor our minds imagined what it is we can build. Well, we at Saga have seen it. Our innovators have lived it, and we are ready to shock the world again. In this moment, I'm asking you to join us, and to our innovators, our storytellers, our creators, and most importantly, to our developers, thank you so much for this incredible journey. Let's keep it going. Thanks so much, guys.